Happy Black Friday, Pat. You have moved to an undisclosed location with better Wi-Fi.
Yep. My office, my corporate office.
What a difference. Well, I want to say welcome to our millions and millions of viewers. They're going to, I know they're going to comment and go, did he buy a new camera? I go, nope.
I went from, it's amazing what, you download on my computer. It's amazing at home. Just nuts.
Yeah, I saw there's all kinds of stats you can look at now that on people working from home, but usually you're experiencing the opposite. It used to be that more people liked working from home because their internet connection was faster at home than it was at the office.
Yeah, not the case with mine.
As a rule. So, well, your hamster's still alive. So, he's got that cage going. And so
yep, exactly.
So how was your Thanksgiving?
Good. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I went to my parents and then I went to some friends and but a good time. It's interesting holiday, just one and on Thursday. And then some people are off today. Some people are working, Well,
my son works at Best Buy and he said this morning there was no line. And they're letting people in 150 at a time in the store. I mean, they're not exceeding 150 people in the store. So they're counting. I mean, said the afternoon started getting busy. He had to be there at 5 this morning. And, they didn't have any doorbuster specials and a lot of their stuff's being done online. So I'm actually glad to see that go away. It's nice on Black Friday to not see any videos of people beating each other up over flat screen TVs in Walmart. But so today I've got some interesting numbers and I put it in a graph form. And then I want to show the viewers a couple of cool events that are going on in downtown Chandler and some resources. And I've put them in the link below. And then I'm also you always hear me talk about virtual tours and how important they are, when you have a listing. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to kind of show you one today too. So, first and foremost for the numbers, we knew that Thanksgiving week would be slow and it lived up to its demands. Last week we had 3,700 new listings come on and 4,000 go under contract. And this week we have 3,007 new listings come on and 3,451 go under contract. And we're looking at 77 homes on the market right now, which is extremely low for a Friday. Usually you don't hit that number till Tuesday.
Now, what market is that? Which specific area is that? You said
that's our local MLS. So it's pretty much. I could show you some green dots on the map, but that's pretty much everywhere in the Phoenix metro area, the Valley, all the way down through Maricopa, and in the entire East Valley. So it's if you're looking to move into the Valley of the Sun, there are 7,700 homes for sale. And usually on Fridays, we have 85 to 8,600. So that number is going to whittle down between now and Tuesday because you're going to have the weekend buyer traffic and it's going to be hard to tell what that is. But I'm going to share a screen here because the purpose of this call is not to tell anybody, make a prediction that the market's going to crash, but we can only talk about the numbers that we see right now and let you know if there's going to be a change. And but you'll know it as soon as we know it. And I'm going to share a graph I put together this morning because I think it illustrates, what you and I are tracking, Pat. And so I'm going to share this real quick. And it's going to look funky for just a second. Then I pull it up. Okay, you can see that graph?
Yep.
Okay, we've been tracking these numbers since the 14th of September. I've missed a week or two, but the blue line is number of listings that came on over a 7-day period. The charcoal line are the number of homes that went under contract. So you can see if you get down here on weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, that the blue line for a while there, actually through half of when we tracked this till I got to like week 20, the blue line, the number of homes coming on was exceeding the number of homes that were going under contract, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Now you skip forward to these numbers here, and you can see that the blue line is continually dropping every week. And it's an anomaly at the end because that's the past 7 days, Thanksgiving. It'll look even worse and frightening over Christmas, but that's just because nobody, we're eating turkey. So we didn't plan on buying a house Thanksgiving week. But you can see here, see how the gray line, charcoal line is bigger than the blue line on pretty much every week until this blue line starts shooting way above the charcoal line. Prices are going to continue to increase.
Yep. Supply demand equation.
Yeah. And this blue line, to be honest with you, should be about twice as long as the charcoal line for it to be considered a non-bidding war market. And that's I don't know when we're gonna come to that. The forbearance numbers that we're seeing are remaining about the same. I don't know if you're seeing anything different that there isn't anything jumping out that said that there's going to be an increase in foreclosures or homes being handed back to the bank. No. I don't know what kind of an event it's going to take for people to say, okay, I'm putting my home on the market.
I don't see. I pulled up this article. There's a couple of things on that, those topics. I pulled from Black Knight the numbers. They said the first look at this month's data, it said that the mortgage delinquencies improved for the 5th consecutive month in October, and the delinquency rate fell another 3.3%. That was the lowest, from 3.3% from September to 6.44%. The nationally, the low 6.44%. So the delinquencies are still not there. And I pulled this article up from Keeping Current Matters, and they were talking about how the pandemic is causing, it says the pandemic is causing almost half of Americans to consider a move. They said a recent survey. Now these surveys, they sometimes talk to 2, 3. I guess it's maybe a good, because it's kind of like a poll. You talk to 1,000 or 2,000 people. Yeah. I don't know how representative that is, but they said the pandemic's causing almost half the Americans consider moving. It said they're thinking about in the not too distant future. It appears that the COVID-19 obviously is part of that motivation. They said that 46% said they were thinking about relocating within the next year, and reducing living expenses was cited, by 44%. Their current home is too small was 27%. I'm looking for different features, 27%. And and they said in the survey, kind of to break it down a little further, they said their current living situations changed during the pandemic. Basically, they said 14% of the people moved in with family or friends, or 10% had family or friends move in with them. So, there's definitely, like I said, 2/3 are thinking about different home amenities that they had not considered, such as a yard. They could spend more time outside, a larger kitchen, office space. And so no doubt, if you look at it across, the pandemic is obviously, throwing the big monkey wrench.
Yeah, I was watching an analyst this morning talking about foreclosures. If we did see any foreclosures start to hit the market, there is so much institutional money out there that's waiting to scoop them up that the average person may never even get an opportunity. There's a lot of cash on the sidelines despite the bad economic news. And in this same article, actually it was a video, talked about the proposal that Biden floated once. We don't see a lot of it now, but saying that, if he wins, that $15,000 tax credit, down payment tax credit for the first time home buyer, actually will just exasperate the inventory problem and the lower end pricing even more than it is now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have now our problem is not demand. So we don't need tax incentives to increase demand. So if you're looking at a market where there's a 30% increase in buying activity and in some cases, a 90% decrease in listings, you don't want to create more demand.
No.
The offset of that 15K you get is going to be gone in 6 months.
Yeah, and you think about it. I mean, just from an economic standpoint, a pure number standpoint, the $15,000 tax credit, really is probably going to be focused in on that market that, let's say, back years ago was $150,000 to $250,000 market for the most part,
which is all but dried up now.
Yeah, economically, because if you got somebody looking at a $400,000 or $500,000 home, the numbers are probably going to be just from a pure. I just don't see somebody who's looking for a $400,000 home that's going to need a $15,000. If you're in that price range, you're going to need more than $15,000 just to help you. And you said, going back to that, the $150,000 to $250,000 market is probably what that $15,000 tax credit would help. But what's on the market for $200,000 that somebody can really, there's very limited inventory, and that's a very competitive market.
Well, I crunched some numbers last night just playing around with my mortgage calculator. I pretended to be you for a minute. And so I did a short video on it on, hey, grab the mortgage calculator and look at some different scenarios. In other words, because let's say you go out and you look at a house today and it's $385,000. You don't know if you want to bid it up to $400K. And what if it goes down in a couple of years? And what if it gets bid up to $440K? And what does that payment look like?
Mm-hmm.
Because, interest rates are so cheap now that when you look at that $20,000 bump, how hard does it hit the wallet? And I'm in no way encouraging that, teaching you how to get into bidding wars. I want them to go away tomorrow. But I'm going to show you my little grade school spreadsheet I put together here, Pat, and we'll see what it does here.
I'll critique it and see how good it is from a mortgage.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. Let's see, it should be right here.
Rick McHone getting into the mortgage business today. Welcome.
I want to get rid of that one. I don't want that. We already showed that. You think it's my first day? Oh, it's behind me. Wait, I'll bring it over here. Now you see it?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so here's the down and dirty. So on the left-hand side, I got these different house prices. $375,000 with a 3.5% down payment. There's your down payment right there, right? $13,000. Mm-hmm. There's your loan amount. And a mortgage rate of 3%. You have an approximate payment of $1,931. That it does just a calculation that assumes your taxes and your average P&I. So that payment may not be accurate, but for the example of this spreadsheet, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Apples to apples. So I said, all right, let's say that home is now $400,000, but mortgage rates are 2.5. That payment went down $1. That's the impact of rates.
Yeah.
Now, if you got up to $410,000 and let's see, there's a calculation error here. There's no way it went down to 1,800. So I'll have to go back and take a look at that and see what happened. But
you just flunked as a mortgage. You just flunked as a mortgage broker
here. Well, yeah, but here's what I can do. I bet you didn't know how to do that.
Ah, yeah. Okay, there you go. So mistakes.
Here's $440,000 at a 2.1% rate, and your payment's $2,027. So go back to that 375.
Yeah.
So see the impact there? 375 is now 440. There's no way I'm touching that house. Well, your payment went up $100.
Yeah. And most people are looking in the $500,000 range. As I always say, the last several years, if you're looking at a $400,000 house and the payment, there's very rare cases where your debt to income ratio is so tight that a $50 payment would make a big difference, from a qualifying standpoint.
Okay. Yeah.
So, overall speaking, if the average, and I know this sounds kind of flippant, but if you're buying a $400,000 house, hopefully a change in $50 a month payment is not going to make or break your decision on buying that house.
Yeah, you shouldn't be buying one if you're living at that close. So
Yeah.
I rolled it down here to 375,000, saying, okay, you bought it 460 and now the house is through. You waited out. You're waiting for the crash. Here it comes. Here it comes. We got it 460 and it rolled back to 375, but interest rates went up to 4%. You're worse off. 21, 22. So my real aim in illustrating that is to say that use the mortgage calculator to play with different scenarios according to your own budget, and take a look and say, okay, I want to be in this price range at what's it look like in today's interest rate, and rates could go down. There are some numbers out there that show that we could be in the low 2s to high 1s. It could happen in 2021. There isn't anything showing that they're going to come flying up, but there seems to be a lot of data showing that the opposite could happen because we're not getting the velocity we want. But you can play with that scenario and say, if prices are going up, when will I be priced out?
Mm-hmm.
Use mortgage calculators to play that way. So it's very simple. It's easy to use, and it's in the link below here on YouTube. And I think you need to arm yourself with some information before you go out.
Yeah, and that's what I do. When I'm talking to prospective buyer, because a lot of people, they call you and they talk to me and they're like they've got a preconceived notion in their head of what they got to do. Just based on their neighbor or their uncle, so you got to do this, you got to do this. And my job, I think sometimes is to break that ceiling and say, let's kind of think outside the box. I know you want to put 20% down, because you said your Uncle Jim and Aunt, Helen you have to put 20% down. You've got money, but do you want to save that money and put 5% down? Here's your interest rate here, and here's your payment. And people, if people take, I've sat down with people over, taking an hour on the phone, and just explain differences, the payment difference. And people are really shocked by like, wow, that's only a $40 a month difference. It's $50. So that's where you have to just kind of sit down and just think about it for a second. So.
Yeah, and there's really no telling. The Fed did make a kind of an odd comment in their last meeting that said that they really want to take a closer look at what what their mortgage-backed securities buying program is doing to the housing market. Mm-hmm. That's kind of okay. So are you leaning towards what Canada did? Canada just stopped. Well, we can't. So that's kind of a veiled comment that says we might want to explore when we're going to take the punch bowl away from everybody at this party.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they tried it in 2018 with disastrous results. And but they want to see what the impact is because we're pushing an affordability issue, and it's happening in a lot of places. But it's the inventory issue we have is national, with the exception of New York and San Francisco. Yeah. And also for buyers, negotiate with your real estate agent when you're going to list it on not just what are your fees, but what do you provide? Can you show me examples of the photography that you use? Do I need an aerial shot with the drone? Do you do any videos or any showcasing of the neighborhood? Because people want to see everything online. And now my friend put an offer on a house in Texas down by Houston. He loved it. He's looking at the walkthrough, had the virtual walkthrough. And I'm going to share one here to show you in a second. And he liked how everything looked. And he got down there, and next to the house is, I don't know exactly what they call it, but they have like mini rodeos there. and with bright lights and Yahoo, a lot of beer. And I don't know how often they have those rodeos, but he didn't want that as a neighbor. So they kicked that one to the curb. You couldn't see that online, even when he did Google Street View. So there's, be careful and, and get real estate agents to dive in and take a look at the neighborhood if you're buying something out of state and know what questions to ask. So, because there can be surprises that way. But,
hey, let me jump in real quick. I got just on that note, I got a buddy of mine that's, you're right though. I think a lot of people focus in on what, what they're paying versus what they're getting. A lot of times I found this with my buddy of mine a couple of weeks ago. He's got his house listed in Milwaukee not Wauwatosa, but a suburb of Milwaukee, and Brookfield, Wisconsin. That's it. Really nice, probably one of the top suburbs in Wisconsin. And he's got a terrible agent. Terrible. I mean, the guy provided terrible pictures. And I don't think he has not marketed his house has gotten 1, 2, 3 offers, while other houses in the area have gotten 30, 40, 50 offers. And he's called his agent and said, what's going on? He goes, well, you got to do this to the house. He goes, no, that's what you have to do, and it does pay. It does pay to get a good agent. If you're paying, if you're paying the full commission, and you're getting what you pay for, that good for you. There's a lot to be said. Realtors do work hard. The good realtors do work hard to really, and you're obviously one, you do a lot of stuff for people. And, I think people have a tendency to look too much. It's kind of like on my side, when people look at the rate, I want the lowest rate. Well, unfortunately, that lowest rate it's going to take you 90 to 100 days to close that loan. Versus if you go to a lender that's maybe an 1/8 point higher, a little bit more, let's say in fees, you might be able to get that closed in 20 days versus 100 days. There's a lot to be said there. So,
and I think it's nothing drives me nuts more than a realtor. So I'm here to take pictures of your home. Really? I know these are good, but I'm going to share a tab here. So let me cue this up. I have a friend that's got an Airbnb in Forks, Washington. And so I did his 360, we'd call it a 360 tour. You can walk around, look at the house. And I do it for all of my listings. The only reason I'm picking this one instead of one of my local listings is A, those have sold, they're under contract, and B, this is just a really cool house, and I had fun doing it, and it's right on the river. But I'm going to show you what it looks like, and so I'm going to click. I'm going to go through my awkward share screen nonsense again. Click here, and click that, so you can see that. Okay, so here's the outside. Now, to preface, this is Forks, Washington. They get 10 feet. I didn't say inches, I said feet of rain a year. It's right on the Salt Duck River. So you see here, and it says main living room. So you can take your mouse, or if you're looking at it on the phone, you can walk in the door. There's the living room. You can look around. You can tour. You can go to the kitchen and dining area. Look at the kitchen.
Nice.
Spice rack. You can go to the main living room, and then here's the thing here. It says rear of home. So I can take you outside, downstairs, master bedroom, lower level, or I can go ahead and go outside. And in this case, if I go outside to the rear of the home, there I am. And there's the river.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's cool.
And
that's awesome.
So you say, well, what river is this? What's it look like? In a 360 tour, if you're living in an interesting neighborhood, let's say downtown Scottsdale, Old Town. I have a video of Old Town Scottsdale. Well, look at this. I can click this here, Salt Duck River, and it's going to play a video of the Salt Duck River. If it loads here, there it is.
I'll be darned. That's pretty.
So think of it in terms of your house. And then like I click here, I can go down to the riverfront, right? And then I can show you that You can fish right there from the riverbank.
Now, is this house you said is listed, or is it still? Is it?
It's up in. He's catching a silver right out of the river.
I'll be darned.
And so these tours, if you're listing your house, I'm sorry, but these are required.
Yeah.
You know, don't go cheap on this. And agents have all the resources that they need to get this done for you. And so you can tour every room in the house. And this is called Rick's wall here, because I recommended he could put a wall there and then make this third bedroom back there. So, but that's, you know, preaching from my little high horse. The tools are there and you should be utilizing them. Drone photos, if you've got a unique piece of property, HD photographs, not wide angle skewed. You know, the nice thing about those virtual tours, Pat, you feel like you're inside the house and you actually get a better feel for how big the house is. It's not really distorted. You can walk around and look.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a feature now. I think it's a must.
Yeah, it sounds like it. No doubt. And
I'll put in the link below too, the Airbnb link for that place if anybody's interested in it. It's very comfortable. I got to go up and help them work on that and just sit out and have a glass of wine out. I lived out there for 2 years. That was enough. 2 feet or forget that 10 feet. So, but you had some numbers earlier, Pat, that you pulled up.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna add something, a real quick feature. I've got this one MBS highway that provides, it's called By the Number. And every week I'm gonna just try to pull out a couple of different. It's a list of different really weird stats that you don't hear every day, maybe, or see. But I want to just maybe do this every week for a quick 2 minutes. It's called By the Number. This is about about the 10-year treasury. Like I said, I'm going to do about 5 or 6. There's about 20 points that they always pull up every week, and they're kind of cool. It's like they'll say like the 10 of the last 30 presidents, the economic, has had economic expansion or recessions. They kind of break stuff down from a big world standpoint that you do, numbers you just don't hear and see every day. The first one, the yield on the 10-year treasury note closed last Friday, November 20th. At 0.83%. That's the 170th consecutive trading day of closing below 1%. Occurring every trading day since March 19th of 2020. The yield on the 10-year note dropped below 1% for the first time ever on March 3rd, which is, it just goes to show you since March, really, rates have just been actually since last August. So over a year now, we've been really in this incredible downtrend of interest rates. Another thing is, it says 1 in 13 home mortgages nationwide were at least one monthly payment delinquent as of September 30th, 2020. 1 out of 13. Just 1 in 25 were at least one payment delinquent back in September 2019. So we've seen almost that 1 in 13 versus 1 in 125. 1 in 25.
They're behind. So that's not forbearance. They're just behind on a payment.
Yeah, behind on a payment. Correct.
Okay.
Another number I just saw was kind of interesting. As of Friday, November 20th, 3.6% Americans, 3.6 have been affected by COVID, which comes out to 11.8 million infected individuals out of 330 population. So 1 out of every 28 Americans has been infected. So I mean, and that's just kind of numbers. I mean, I'll do that every week. Just some interest. I just pull it up. I get that every week, and I'll just touch on 3, 4, 5 different numbers that some different weird numbers that people are like, wow, I didn't know that. So just to kind of
it's Paul. I saw another one today too that was saying, everybody says, well, I'm going to wait till after the election. Well, guess what? Nothing has changed.
Yeah,
it's real estate was still going up, and it's going up now, and it's going to go up in January. Nothing's going to change. It's the stock market. There are way too many things that that even make the stock market go up and down. And if you look at charts, and I'm looking at the bond market, trying to figure out, is there going to be a breakthrough in the bond market that's going to drive interest rates down even further? I just kind of enjoy looking at that stuff, but I really try not to offer any opinion on it because, that's not my wheelhouse. But it's for the people that are sitting back saying, well, I'm waiting until after the election. Well, here you are. Or I'm waiting for the crash. That could be a painful wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple interesting points. I just want to throw it out here. It's gonna be interesting to see. We get the COVID stuff. What I'm just gonna throw this out to everybody, you, our millions of viewers. I don't think we've ever talked about this. Maybe we could start talking about this or thinking about it. Is okay. We get the vaccine. We got 3-4 vaccines out there. They're coming out the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months. We really haven't talked about it, and I just kind of popped in my head. What's it going to look like post-vaccine?
Yeah, is that going to be the catalyst that's going to make people go, okay, I can move now? Because there's this huge, in a lot of surveys, people want to move to more rural areas, because they can now. And I remember I had a corporate job, and I remember how just I thought silly they were not encouraging working, me sitting in my conference room with my team attending a meeting in Texas. The technology was there. You could share files, but they always wanted to get together for a meeting. Well, now that paradigm is gone. That nobody fears it. Nobody worries about it. And so there are people now that are saying, well, I don't have to live in a big city. I can live somewhere else. And they're waiting and they want to make a move. I can't remember what the number was, but there was a significant number of homeowners that said they are planning a move as soon as they see some relief from COVID-19.
Well, yeah, I mean, the numbers, just like you said, it sounds like almost said the pandemic's causing half Americans to consider some type of move.
Yeah, and that adds to the downsizing that baby boomers were planning on doing, but now they're sitting there with a decent interest rate, and they go, well, the kids just moved in because they lost their job at the mall. We better postpone that for a while. A lot of shakeout has to happen before we see this influx of homes that come on board.
And I want to make a point to a lady that I talked to this week. Very nice lady. I'm just gonna give her initial. Well, just Fran. Very nice lady. We had a super conversation. She, she's looking at possibly maybe buying a home down the road, and she's talking. One of her friends possibly. This might be just a kind of a key note is if somebody's got a friend that's an investor, maybe they are looking to buy, sell one of their homes. Maybe you can get in on the market that way by talking to me. If you've got an uncle or aunt that has got 5, 6, 7 homes, their investor, maybe approach them and say, hey, that way it takes you out of the competitive market versus going up against 5 or 10 offers. That's just, I thought, very nice lady, very smart. I really, that's why I'm in the business to talk to people like that. I just got a kick out of talking to her. So
yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I have a client that bought the house next door because the gentleman had passed away.
Yeah. So that's sometimes you have to be creative in this type of market. Maybe keep your eyes open. I guess that's my whole point: is keep your ears open to different.
He got a smoking deal on it.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and I brokered it for him for $1,000.
Yeah.
A coughing fit here. Bear with me. That water went down the wrong pipe. Hey, a couple quick things before we go. Let me show you what's going on in Chandler. There is Sugarland downtown. It's going to be lit up tomorrow.
Okay.
Kind of a festival of lights downtown. So bring the kids. That's kind of cool. Then I put a link in there below too on things to do in Arizona. Destinations.
Oh, nice.
Restaurants, where to eat. or to go play. And in downtown Chandler, they did this cool thing where some of these restaurants wanted to have outdoor dining, but they didn't have a way to have outdoor dining. So the city of Chandler said, you can expand out into the street. And they built these little fence things, like for the Brickyard, where you would normally park your car, because they've got free parking down there. And they just put outdoor seating out there on the street. Sounds kind of weird, but it's actually very comfortable. They put patio heaters out, and it's really nice. And, you know, fortunately, we live in a climate where you can do that. And so that's neat to see. So, but so anyway, every week we're going to go back and look at that chart, and we need to start seeing the inventory numbers coming up. And I want to say 63% of you that are joining us on these calls have not subscribed. And if you subscribe, you get notified whenever we come on or we add a video or something. So it doesn't cost anything. It's a freebie. It just tells YouTube to put this content in front of more people, and we appreciate that. So, Pat, have a super weekend.
All righty. I'm glad to see that. I can't guarantee that I'll be in this position every week, but definitely is an upgrade on. You know, I'm not that bad of a looking guy, actually, when you clear up the video.
Yeah, you look younger this week.
So,
all right.
That's the problem with my dating life, is that my videos are just blurry.
That's it. Yeah. They're waiting for you to walk down the street when you go to meet him for coffee, and they go, he looks too clear.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, buddy.
All right.
Thanks for everybody, and we will chat with you soon next week.
All right. See ya.
All right, buddy. Bye.